This is a tank from a Suzuki gt550. Although one side is good, this side's pretty good. The problem is this side, and in particular this piece here, because this crease here has raised this part up in a sharp edge, so you can't simply hit this down. If I simply send this for paint, it'll be the charge will be quite a lot, just because of these repairs. In particular this one, I'd imagine that they'll want to do quite a lot of work to get this one back, so that may be £200–300. So instead of doing that, I've decided to purchase a dent puller, which is this item here. So this is brand new. See what we've got in the packet. I haven't used one before. I understand the principles of it. However, we'll see how we get on. I do tend to buy tools as an alternative to simply handing the work over to other people if I can, because once you've bought the tools, you always have those tools, and it means that you can save money in the future. So this is what we've got. We've got a user manual you'll have to have a read of. It's a big piece of kit, and if you haven't seen one of these before, it's running off a normal 220 volt supply, house supply. There's not a lot of current in these. There's only probably current draw is probably only in the region of 4 or 5 amps, so quite safe. You can run them off. And what happens is when you contact the material, the first bit that contacts is your weld piece, and then these two pieces here contact, which create the circuit for the current. And I think this is a cheap set. There is a much more expensive set, and a much more expensive set. This set here cost around about £130, something like that. There is a larger set. It's not really available in the UK market. It differs and has a better handle, and I have to say the head is better, easier to use. And then if you like the professional set, you can then spend up to about £250, where you have a variable power supply, so you've got much better control on the weld. That sits as a separate unit, and you have as a separate head, so nice and easy to use. You have to be careful. There's a lot of advertising on eBay showing the head, and what's not explained in the text, except in a very small line, is that you have to buy the power supply to go with it. So people are spending maybe £80 buying just a head unit, believing that that's what they need to do this type of work, and then finding out that they've got to then go and spend an extra £250. And then we'll see how we get on. So that's the instruction manual read, what there is of it. There's not a hell of a lot. There's very little, to be honest, which is going to be of much use to you. So I would suggest that you have to be reasonably competent with hand tools before you give this one a try. There'll certainly be a bit of learning to do. One of the things I was really interested to see was to which standard it's been built to, safety standards. It does have what appears to be a CE marking here. There's no UK equivalent to that, but that's okay. One thing I will point out in this is this section here, which is to do with electromagnetic compatibility. So when the thing's in use, it's a very low voltage, it's only 4 volts. Yes, here is that you have things like phones, and it talks here about pacemakers as well. I don't know about that. But other equipment, say computers and things like this, are hard drives. If you have those local to this when you're using it, it may cause some problems. Okay, but we'll see what happens on this video and see if we see any evidence for that. Such a low voltage, I don't think we're going to have a problem, but just something worth noting. So there are 2 tips. There's this tip, which is described as a shrinkage tip, and this one for holding the weld-on pieces, the pulling pieces. The shrinkage tip, what this is for, is if you have small dents, you put this on and it'll just localize heat that area, and that should cause the high spot to pull away. The more important one is obviously this one. So we place this one in, we place our tip into here, and then we offer that up to the surface. That goes in until these two pieces touch, and then that creates a circuit. Okay, so these are the two pieces that come, the two weld-on pieces. These fit inside this adapter here. So this is a 2.5, which is a nice fit. Indeed, it's magnetic, so it's stuck in there now. Crumbs. Don't do that with your calipers, by the way. Bad idea. And this is a smaller one, so this is 2mm. So again, I won't let. So this is the 2.5mm piece. I've got it into the holder, so push right back. This thing's well secured. So put it on the piece of metal. I've removed the rust. Always clean the material before you do anything like this to get a good contact. So we're now on hard. You press the trigger, and the thing has automatically cut itself out. So pull it out, and that's it stuck. Now this material is thick. So the larger one isn't going to cause any too much distortion, but that, if you saw that, but that amount of heat on something like this may well cause you a bit of a problem. Okay, so you do need to, what I would do is to try the smaller one first. Unless you can't pull it enough using the smaller one, then I'll try the bigger one. This is a smaller one. So again, it's on. Okay, and again, we haven't heated the base material much. It's much warmer than the 2.5 one, and it's a much better weld as well. That was much stronger. It may not seem so, but it was. I do feel that was much stronger. So it works. I like it. I like it a lot for the money. But now we better give it a try on in the real world. I'm going to start by trying to pull this dent at the top, just to give myself some practice. I'll get it nice and clean as I can to start off with. A texture. Now, obviously, if you're welding onto a fuel tank or anything that may have contained fuel at some point, it's got to be scrupulously clean, properly clean. This thing has been acid washed, soap washed, flushed multiple times. It did have a metal conditioner put on it just to try and hold back the flash rust, but that was again washed off once it done its job. So that has actually gone quite a lot into the material. You can see the dent there was a very big low spot there, so I was struggling to get the earthing contacts to contact the metal. So I'm hoping that just because it's sat in the groove, I'm hoping that it hasn't actually welded. If it has, what you have to do is once you pull the dent, is simply use a grinder and just cut that off initially, and then probably using a flapper wheel, not a grinding disc, but a flapper wheel, just to remove that any additional material. Tank coating's still got to go on, so I'm not particularly worried about what's happening inside. So now we'll see if we can't give it a pull. So this is a dent puller. It's a slide hammer. So we put the welded on piece into here, and then we pull the dent out by gently pulling back. Don't go crazy. Well, I don't think you go crazy anyway. So what that is a collet which is collapsed onto the piece using the nut here. Get this nice and tight. Yep, that feels a bit better. Let's put that safe so it doesn't jump off. These are my parts for my NSR 250 carburetor rebuild, so let's put those safe. So, yep. Yeah. So the dent's come out, however it's left me a hole. Yeah. So what I'll do, there's still a small dent there, not panicking just yet. I can fill that hole no problem. We have the technology. So I'm going to do it again at 2mm. This time I'm going to count. There's no instructions that tells you should do that. So there's no instructions that tells you that you should count. But that's what we're going to do. So again, we're concentrating on this area now. So that was 2 seconds. That hasn't welded in there, so that's probably the better idea. You live and learn. So again, let's fit this. Yeah, that's good. That's really good. I think if you use a 3mm, it may be worse. Maybe worse. But I'll fill these in. These are not a problem. So what I'll do with these is I'll just TIG weld them. No, MIG weld them. Just fill the holes in, and then I'll just use a grinder on them. But what I'll do is I do need to get these dents out as far as I can. We're going to have to do this bit by bit. So first of all, as always, just clean this area up as best we can so we can get good adhesion. Hopefully we won't burn through as easily, but as this is a crease, so the material's up, no doubt thinned in this area. We're probably going to definitely go through. I think if you're worried about this, then you should really do this. You do obviously need a MIG welder machine or something similar, preferably a TIG, to be honest. You couldn't do this with manual metal arc, stick welder, it'd be impossible. I do have an oxyacetylene set as well, which might be good to give that a try on this, but I'm more likely to use MIG. So the problem is that we're going to pull this. Now the material's creased, so it's plastic deformed, so that when we pull it out, if we pulled it all the way out, you'd end up with a big ripple because the metal's stretched. So what we're going to do is pull it as much as we can, just to allow us to remove this high spot here, which once I've pulled this out and I'm comfortable that we can do that, I'll use a peening hammer just to strike this down. As soon as I get that down and I feel that that curve can be put back in, I'm going to stop. Right, let's give that a try. There are actually 2 dents. There's this main crease, but there is actually a dent there, and it's that dent there that's actually caused that. Okay, if it was just a crease, probably would have been okay. So we'll go for pulling this dent first. This time we're going to use the 3mm pulls, mainly because we'll see. I haven't used them, and we'll see what happens. I'm going to try a 1 second heat. See if that reduces the amount of penetration. So it didn't ground because it's raised up, so I'm just going to try that angle. Should wear glasses for this. Didn't really think you'd need them, but you should do. So we'll try pulling that. That's come really well. I can see it now, it's come straight out. That's really good. It's a shame about the hole. As I say, I do appreciate that some may look at this and think, oh my god, but I'm not overly concerned by that. I would have liked to put another pull here, but with the hole there, I don't really want to do that. What I will do is I'll just try giving this crease a little bit of a pull. And that one was about half a second, and it's still melted through. It worked though, you've got to give it that, it worked. That's not bad. Well, you can see that, but that's creases, it's there, but now it's repairable. So I'm just going to see if I can't tap this down here. So that's my trusty repair hammer. Pulling this dent out has actually lowered this already, but we'll just give it a try. Yeah, that's gone. So that's it finished. That's a weld done. All the holes plugged up. Yeah. Took about maybe about 20 minutes, something like that. I used my old MIG in the end. You know, it's 0.5mm. The wire. My new MIG, which is much bigger, is about 0.8 to 0.9. So I would have put too much heat in. Same thing with oxyacetylene. You put so much heat and you end up with quite a big, you can end up with quite a big distortion if you're not careful. So that's why I went with MIG in the end, and I think it's fine. Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll order a new tank liner. I'll put the tank liner in. Then unfortunately it's going to have to sit on the shelf then for a while because I've got two other bikes. I've got a gt550 to finish, and I've got an NSR 250 engine rebuild and general restoration. Those two first, then I'll be on to the gt550 to carry on with that. I'll do bits and pieces of this. I need to do the exhaust. The exhaust is in poor condition, so I'll probably have a go at that at some time. So with regards to the dent puller, is it worth it? So I think yeah, I think it works fairly well. But the system that I showed you there at around about 130 to 140 pounds, it's good. It's really great. You know, as I say, it's still got to go for repairs at the paint shop, but this is going to reduce the cost really significantly, and it's probably already paid for itself just in the work I've done here, especially this piece here. That's going to be nice and easy now to get that curve back in. That's it.